once again leveled very serious allegations against India. India has been rebutting with equal force, has been denying all of those allegations while asking constantly, where is the proof? Here are the top reactions that have come in so far.
It is obvious that the government of India made a fundamental error in thinking that they could engage in supporting criminal activity against Canadians here on Canadian soil, whether it be murders or extortion or other violent acts. It is absolutely unacceptable. No country, particularly not a democracy that upholds the rule of law, can accept this fundamental violation of its sovereignty. Canada fully accepts and respects the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of India. We expect India to do the same. In this case, they did not.
It is targeting the South Asian community, but what we've seen is there's specific targeting of pro-Khalistan elements in Canada, or members of the pro-Khalistan movement. What we've seen is from an RCMP perspective, is the use of organized crime elements, and I will say and it's been publicly attributed and claimed by one organized crime group in particular, which is the Bishnoi group. So that's what we're seeing here in Canada. And we believe that that group is connected to agents of the government of India.
I want to quickly bring in Siddhant Mishra into the conversation. Siddhant, very serious allegations first leveled by Canada in the communication that it sent out to India. India's responded with equal force, unprecedented response from the MEA. Since then as well, we've seen the Canadian side talk about certain agencies in Canada that have hard-hitting proof of India's involvement of its agents. But tell us a little bit about how this has exposed Justin Trudeau's government's doublespeak.
Well, Christine, one thing is very clear, that this has not been escalated by India. India never started any diplomatic standoff with Canada. Not this time, and even not the previous times. Both the times it was started by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. This time again it has been started by him, because he tried confronting Prime Minister Modi during ASEAN summit in Laos, and then a diplomatic message was conveyed to New Delhi to waive off the immunities of Indian High Commissioner and the other diplomats. Now Indian side has called it preposterous imputation, and Indian side has rejected the claims that Canadian side have made. In fact, since last 1 year, Indian government has been asking Canadian side to share any details, evidence regarding the ongoing investigation in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's case, but not a single detail has been provided to Indian side. Point number two, many experts also tell us, Christine, that this is deliberately being done by Mr. Trudeau to consolidate his position within his party and government, because he's the most unpopular Prime Minister Canada has ever seen. There is inflation in Canada, there are other domestic issues, and he has failed to fulfill the commitment. So this bashing India, perhaps creating new Hindu-Sikh divide within the Indian diaspora in Canada, and his friend Jagmeet Singh is partners in crime in what he is doing right now. So they don't have evidence, all they have is allegations, and this time around, in fact, interestingly, they have fronted RCPM to level allegations against India. So, Indian government has to say that we are a responsible country. First of all, it's not Indian government's policy to do such kind of extrajudicial killings. Indian government also says that if something has come up in investigation of involvement of somebody born in India, or perhaps has some links with the gangs in India, then it should have been shared at the level of law enforcement agencies.
We have spoken of internal threat in Canada, how it comes at the cost of public safety in Canada, while citing the RCMP. But Siddhant, what's interesting is, and we as per our sources in the MEA have learned, that the MEA is very closely noting how the RCMP has also not been able to provide any single proof while holding that press conference, leveling those hard-hitting allegations, no proof whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. They have not come up with any proof. All they are saying is that some links have been established, there are persons of interest, there is an involvement of Indian diplomats. These are some baseless allegations that RCPM is making. They had enough time. They had time of almost 1 year. No charge sheet has been filed in the case. And in fact, Christine, I have also been told that it's a strategy. The strategy is that the 4 people, those who have been arrested in the Niger's killing, they are being forced now by RCPM to name India, to name people belonging to Indian government, to malign the image of India and to prove that what Justin Trudeau is saying is right. So that's kind of a part of a strategy. On the other end, the case which is going on in United States right now, India is cooperating with the United States. Even the teams are in DC. They will hold talks with the law enforcement agencies in United States to understand what details they have, what India has to say. That is how 2 strategic partners, friends work. But Canada and Trudeau doesn't know this, or perhaps they don't want it because Mr. Trudeau has kept the entire relationship on stake just to consolidate his political position.
Siddhant, that's why the ME has been forced to respond in the manner in which it did, because so far ME, and I've been saying this since hour 1 of this controversy, MEA was ready to give in to the allegations that were leveled by Canada, provided they came out with proof. They were willing to look into the allegations leveled by Canada, provided they had enough proof. So far, given that they've not been able to submit any proof with the Indian side, India saying enough is enough. You can't just level baseless allegations against our diplomats, and their security is at risk as well. Hence this decision. But tell us a little bit about how, politically speaking, this perhaps is, the only way out for Justin Trudeau government. He's compelled by political narrative, which is not really working for him as we speak in the country.
He is somebody who his party only wants to replace. Continuing as the Prime Minister of Canada is a different challenge. The first challenge for him is to be the leader of his own party, because liberals are thinking of replacing him with some new face, because his approval ratings are all-time low. The original Canadians don't like him. The inflation is all-time high. The cost of living is high. Mortgage rates. There are multiple issues, multiple promises he made in the run-up to the elections, and none of those promises have been fulfilled. So the last resort, the last option left with Mr. Trudeau and his foreign minister was to bash India, to perhaps bash India and create a communal divide within the country, within the Indian diaspora, to make it a fight of Sikhs versus Hindus. Also, to be seen as somebody fighting and championing the cause of fighting for the Sikh, community in Canada, and that is what he's attempting to do right now. And there are diplomatic channels, there are other channels available. When 2 countries are strategic partners, there are multiple routes to convey something, to tell the other country about it. Confronting the Prime Minister, going public with the allegations at Prime Ministerial level, at Foreign Minister's level, is perhaps end of the ties. You are deliberately ending ties with India. And what about the law and order situation in Canada? The South Asian community is being targeted. India had submitted multiple dossiers. None of them have been arrested. None of them have been extradited back to India. There are also issues of mishandling of the entire situation. RCPM is unable to make arrests in multiple cases. What about the cases in which the Hindu temples were vandalized? How many arrests have been made in those cases? So their record is not clean. When India has been telling them since 2017 that, boss, here is the list of people, they have criminal antecedents, they have done crime in India, please send them back, we will put them on trial. None of them have been sent back. Now they are alleging Lawrence Bishnoi's hand. They are saying that there is Indian involvement, agents of governments of India have done that. So just bizarre. Trudeau is responsible for this situation, for the lawlessness and the collapse of law and order in Canada. And I have been speaking to people in Canada, and they say that it all started after Trudeau became the Prime Minister. Before that, everything was okay in Canada.
Okay, let's not forget elections due in Canada in 2025. So all of this has to be seen with that lens. Many thanks, Siddhant, for joining us with the latest. Viewers, there are several layers to the controversy that is coming in from Canada, with the allegations being leveled by Justin Trudeau and his government and not being able to provide a shred of proof. The Indian side says enough is enough. We're not going to tolerate this anymore, with the Canadian side still unrelenting without submitting any proof, wanting to sever ties diplomatically with India. We play out more reactions that we've picked up on this big story.
Canada and its government led by Prime Minister Trudeau has repeatedly thrown accusations against India, the Indian officials, and this time against the Indian High Commissioner, while endangering their lives. We have seen the last time what they did, that the posters of the Indian ambassador and consul general were published by the separatist and terrorist elements in Canada, which is quite ridiculous actually for a responsible state to do so. This has brought the relationship to a really low level, and if these kind of things continue, I doubt very much that we can see a proper relationship with Canada, which is an important country.
I think the next steps are very, very clear, that there is always the principle of reciprocity, which is available in international law. So if we are withdrawing some of our people from Canada, we can insist that the Canadians also withdraw some of their people, and we can specify who should be withdrawn. But we must also keep in mind that both Canada and India are signatories to an international treaty, which is the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. And as per this international treaty, of which more than 170-80 countries are members, have signed this treaty, including Canada and India, that it is the host country which is responsible for the safety and security of the diplomatic personnel from the sending country.
मेरा होप है, मेरा प्रार्थना है कि दोनों गवर्नमेंट इस बारे में सोच के बाद डी-एस्केलेट करने के लिए कोशिश करेंगे, लेकिन मैं सोचता नहीं हूँ कि वो करेगा. जो कुछ सिग्नल्स हमको अभी मिलते हैं कि ये और एस्केलेशन होगा. जस्टिन ट्रूडो का पॉपुलैरिटी ऊपर जाता नहीं है, नीचे जा रही है ना. इकोनॉमी भी बहुत डिफ़िकल्टीज है. तो बेशक नेक्स्ट इलेक्शन में जस्टिन ट्रूडो जीतेगा नहीं, तो नया गवर्नमेंट हो जाएगा, तो हमारा रिलेशंस थोड़ा बेटर होगा.
Fresh diplomatic standoff begins between India and Canada. This time around again it has been started by Prime Minister of Canada Justin Trudeau. Prime Minister Trudeau first tried confronting Prime Minister Modi during the ASEAN summit in Laos, after which Ottawa sends diplomatic cable to New Delhi, perhaps conveying to New Delhi that Indian High Commissioner to Canada and other diplomats are persons of interest in an ongoing investigation. After which Indian government comes up with the strongest and the lengthiest statement ever Indian side issued against any country in recent times. Indian government in a statement perhaps makes allegation on Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for escalating situation for his own political motives. In fact, Indian side exposed Justin Trudeau upright center in the detailed statement that have been issued by Ministry of External Affairs. After which Indian side summoned Canadian envoy in New Delhi, and perhaps meeting at South Block office of Ministry of External Affairs lasted for 25 minutes, after which Ministry of External Affairs announced that Indian government will withdraw Indian High Commissioner and other diplomats being targeted by the government of Canada.
Now let's talk a little bit about Justin Trudeau's political compulsions in acting in the manner in which he has. Remember Jagmeet Singh, the NDP leader who extended support to the Liberals in 2022, and that's when the minority government in Canada came to power. That's when Justin Trudeau could be the next Prime Minister, then Prime Minister of Canada. We do know that, remember, the NDP has withdrawn support from the government, and this happened close to a month ago. Now, in order to make the NDP happy, many critics say all of this is being done by Justin Trudeau because he does need Jagmeet Singh's support for survival. Jagmeet Singh, remember, is an interesting person here because he's been a vocal supporter of the Khalistani cause. In fact, his NDP, like I said, recently withdrew support from the Trudeau government, and Justin Trudeau, as everyone knows, is losing grip in Canada. He's losing grip on the mainstream Canadian voters, and is perhaps now allegedly reviving the issue to mobilize support of the Sikh community. Let's not forget, the Sikh community on multiple occasions has spoken of how they do not support the Khalistani cause. But this is exclusive detail coming in from CNN News 18's Manoj Gupta, telling us about the political compulsions really. But like I said, there has been a very aggressive, forceful response that's come in from the Ministry of External Affairs. And like we've been discussing, it's been unprecedented in so many ways, because the MEA so far, remember, was very measured in its response, was willing to look into the allegations leveled by Canada. But this time around, the message has been stern. The message talks about the baseless targeting of the Indian envoy, Mr. Sanjay Kumar. Remember, it began with allegations leveled by Canada against the High Commissioner, Mr. Sanjay Kumar. India says these are baseless allegations, completely unacceptable. The second big message being sent out by India is that Trudeau government's actions have endangered diplomats' safety, and that's what was said by Canada in withdrawing several of its diplomats, including the High Commissioner. Number 3, the big message coming in, no faith in Canadian government's commitment to ensuring safety. This once again pertains to safety of diplomats on the Canadian soil, given the multiple threats that have been issued to them in public domain. Number 4, India reserves its right to take further steps. So that's India in a wait and watch essentially. And the 5th big message coming in, that Trudeau government supports extremism and separatism against India. And India has many reasons to believe the same, because like I said, we've been putting out details of the several Khalistani leaders, extremist elements in Canada wanted in India, and India constantly raising this request with Canada, which has fallen on deaf ears. Canada has not responded to any of these extradition requests. That's where the problem began, and this is the escalation that we see today.
Let me begin with the biggest development that's taken place, India's withdrawal of its High Commissioner from Ottawa and its diplomats, and the subsequent expulsion of 6 Canadian diplomats from India. Is this the lowest point of India-Canada diplomatic ties?
Well, it's perhaps too early to say. This has been on a downward trajectory for some time now, Akanksha, as you know. And all of this goes back to just over a year ago, when a very serious murder investigation began into a Sikh separatist who was killed in British Columbia. And subsequent to this, very public statements, allegations were made on the floor of the House of Commons by the Prime Minister of Canada, which resulted at that time in the expulsion of a number of Canadian diplomats from India. And now new allegations and further very undiplomatic exchanges have certainly brought Canada and India to a very low point in our history's diplomatic relations.
Peter MacKay, India maintains that the Canadian government has not shared a shred of evidence with the government of India since Prime Minister Trudeau made certain allegations which you're referring to in September of 2023. In light of claims by India, how do you view the RCMP allegations, considering nothing concrete has been shared as far as evidence in public domain is concerned, and understandably so?
Well, very scant evidence that would be made public, and that is not what I find unusual. But in my experience, both inside politics and ministerial offices, but also as a prosecutor, this is the type of information and evidence that is usually shared very much on secret channels. That is to say that you don't make public statements, you don't do press releases. And I think this is perhaps where things went very off the rails, so to speak. India has always very strongly rejected the allegations, called them preposterous, both in the past and in light of these current allegations. And the statement that came from the Indian government as a result of this recent very pointed allegations against now diplomats, calling them persons of concern or persons who essentially are being investigated. This again has been referred to by India as baseless, that no information has been shared. And so it's very, very curious.
And with that, it's time for us to head into a very short break. We'll be right back with lots more on the other side. Keep watching.
And date of poll in Maharashtra would be 20th 11. Counting would be on 23rd 11/24, and you will notice that date of poll is Wednesday. This is deliberately, which lot of scheduling, whatever goes into scheduling, we have tried that it is midday, so that issue of urban apathy is handled. And in case of urban apathy, we are really very concerned. We want to make appeal through you to all our esteemed voters in the urban areas to please come and vote. It's not a healthy trend which is reflected. If I give you a brief of what is happening across the elections in the urban apathy, we will share this slide with you. If you look at various states, you look at Gurgaon, you look at Faridabad recently. Last elections, you look at Jubilee Hills, Hyderabad. You look at Bangalore South. You look at Gujarat, Gandhigram, Kolaba, Mumbai City, Pune, Thane, all are much below the state averages of each state. We will be conducting a special meeting of the municipal commissioners and DOs within a week's time to appeal again to do whatever we can do to motivate the voters in the urban areas, but the trends are really not good. If I show you the Lok Sabha, that was the Lok Sabha. If I show you legislative assemblies, see the lowest. The Kolaba was just 40%. 62 of 64 urban ACs in Maharashtra were less than the state average in 2019. So was the case in the parliamentary elections 2024 also. And just to give you a contrast, if you compare, so what was the situation in Lok Sabha in Kalyan was 50%, Mumbai South 50%, Mumbai North, Thane, Pune, Mumbai South, everything 53%. And these were the lowest 6 parliamentary constituencies out of the lowest 10. So that's the state of the urban apathy. We would be doing everything to counter it. Last time in 24 elections, we had all celebrities, all corporates, Amul, everyone involved. We'll do it again. And we'll also, at this point, emphasize that this contrasts with a very positive trend in the constituencies like Doda, 72%, Riyasi, 74%, Punch, 74%, Rajouri, 71%. If they can go 70 plus, Kolaba can also go 40 plus. In 24 Lok Sabha elections, Bastar was 68%, 69%. Gadchiroli, Manipur, states after state, tough areas. So we'll be requesting through you, we'll have a special drive this time for the slum areas in urban areas and also the colonies, all alike, to have a real urban push. I do not want to name a specific thing, but there are booths in Faridabad and Gurgaon in the recently held elections, and they are the poshest places where voting has been around 20%. So again, we will be doing a lot of work on this to do whatever we can do to attract the urban voters. Now, friends, coming to Jharkhand. Jharkhand एक बहुत ही समृद्ध स्टेट है, बहुत ही उसकी विरासत है, और वहाँ पर हम फिर से अपील करेंगे कि सब वोटर्स अधिक से अधिक मात्रा में वोट दें. Schedule would be like this. Jharkhand would be in 2 phases. The date of poll, first phase would be on 13th November. And the second phase would be along with Maharashtra on 20th November. And date of counting would be 23rd 11, that is Saturday. With this, we end our presentation. with the request that through you, that all the voters of Jharkhand and Maharashtra कृपया बाहर आइए, कृपया वोट करिए लोकतंत्र के उत्सव में आपकी भागीदारी कि हम बहुत ही रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं, अपील करते हैं आपसे. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
So by so we will come back. We'll come back.
Okay. Sorry. By elections also. By elections. We have 48 ACs and 2 PCs in 15 states.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned to CNN News 18. There's another political controversy that we're tracking very closely, which is also related to assembly elections due in Maharashtra and Jharkhand. Remember, the Election Commission has already announced the dates for the same, and the counting of votes for both these states will take place on the 23rd of November. Interestingly, even before the announcement came in, we heard a host of reactions from several in the opposition, including Congress. In fact, Rashid Alvi of the Congress made a comparison to pagers. If Israel could hijack pagers, he said, why is it that the Bharatiya Janata Party, while misusing the Election Commission, not hack EVMs? The CEC has now responded to the allegations being levelled by the Congress party. Listen into yourself first up.
तभी लोग पूछते हैं जब पेजर से उड़ा देते हैं तो ईवीएम को कैसे हैक नहीं कर सकते, ये भी पूछते हैं. जब कोई किसी कंट्री में पेजर से उड़ा दिया तो ईवीएम हैक हो जाएगी. अरे भाई, पेजर कनेक्टेड होता है, ईवीएम कनेक्टेड नहीं होती. आप पिछले 15-20 इलेक्शंस देख लीजिए. इट इज गिविंग रिजल्ट्स आफ्टर रिजल्ट्स डिफरेंटली. जहां मतलब ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि जब पसंद का रिजल्ट ना आए तभी गलत है, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. जब काउंटिंग में पहुंचे तो फिर कहें भाई चेक कर लो, फिर 17C से चेक कर लो. राउंड वाइज राउंड दिस इज हैपनिंग. वो बिल्कुल सेफ है, बिल्कुल रोबस्ट है.
ईवीएम पर निशाना केवल बहाना है, राहुल गांधी को हार से बचाना. हरियाणा में भी आपको याद होगा कि राहुल गांधी बचाओ कमेटी बैठी थी, RGBC, राहुल गांधी बचाओ कमेटी. ये राहुल गांधी बचाओ कमेटी RGBC ने तय किया कि ईवीएम को दोष दो, फिर उन्होंने तय किया कुमारी सैलजा को दोष दो, सबको दोष दे दो, राहुल गांधी पर कोई आंच ना आन पाए. ये दिखाता है ये कंडीशनल कमिटमेंट टू कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. तो कांग्रेस के पास क्योंकि अब आ चुका है कि उनको चुनाव में हार मिलने वाली है, इसीलिए कांग्रेस पार्टी ने यह बयान दिलवाया है और पूरी प्रक्रिया, चुनावी प्रक्रिया पर सवाल निशान खड़े करने का काम करते हैं. ये दिखाता है कि जब चुनाव जीतते तब तो ठीक है, वरना चुनावों पर ही सवाल खड़े करते हैं.
I want to quickly go across to my colleagues, Payal and Yasha joining us with more. But before that, Pallavi joins us from the newsroom here in Noida. Pallavi, to you first, to really understand, where the sentiment from within the Congress is coming from. A hard-hitting response from Mr. Rajiv Kumar, who says that when it politically suits them, they adhere to the EVM results. When it doesn't, they come out in opposition. But tell us a little bit about why would the Congress, in your view, rake this at a time that election dates were not even announced.
And, and the timing is also horrible, really, Christine, because first of all, the party cadre gets more and more demoralized. They have this thinking that what's the point of putting up an effort and even campaigning because the EVM machines are wrong. But I think, and if you notice the India bloc, it's the strongest and loudest voices really are coming in from the Congress party as far as the EVM machines are concerned. They are completely convinced, Rahul Gandhi is completely convinced that there is a problem with the EVM machines, because if you look at the Haryana elections, according to them, the postal ballots and everything on ground seem to suggest that they are going to win what went wrong. And they come out with a 99% battery charge and recharge. So they are convinced, but then they also fail to answer why didn't you have a similar grudge against EVMs when it came to Telangana, Karnataka and Himachal Pradesh.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that the CCs come out to say that EVMs are foolproof, let's put an end to this debate, also is a response to all of these political parties. But the comment that came in from Rashid Alvi was the most interesting when he drew a direct comparison to
no one from the
pagers.
Congress party is actually even condoning it, because no one from the Congress party is talking about it, and I don't think it's going to go down well at all. I think Rashid Alvi is trying to take a leaf out of Rahul Gandhi's narrative, but many would say he's crossed the bridge a little bit too far, because the Congress has not spoken on it. It's not even officially condemned it, but it's not even officially kind of supported it. But the larger grain is essentially this, that as far as the Congress is concerned, they're completely convinced that you need to have those VVPAT slips, maybe go back to the old days, and EVM machines cannot be considered to be completely foolproof.
Absolutely. And when it comes to elections, thoda drama to banta, and that's what's something that we witnessed already. Pallavi, many thanks for that quick update. I want to go across to Payal as well. Payal, tell us how the BJP, interestingly, is using this to its advantage, because the BJP says that the Mahavikas Aghadi is already given up on elections, conceded, given that they're resorting to these allegations even before elections are held.
Well, the attack has come so far from the Congress party on multiple occasions, on the Congress party, right from the Prime Minister to the Home Minister to the party's national president. They've all been saying that one thing which the Congress party has not been able to digest, that the mandate of the people is not with them. From 2014 to 2019 to 2024, the opposition has been using the same bogey selectively. When Karnataka elections take place and they win, then it's okay with them, then the EVMs are good. The EVMs are good in Jammu and Kashmir, but not good in Haryana as well. What is the difficulty in accepting that, yes, we calculated the mandate of the people wrong, probably we need to do better, we need to go back to the ground and get it running and get it hitting again, so that we can actually correct the mistake that we've really made. So that's what the BJP's argument really has been, that their har ka tikda hamesha election commission pe phona hai. That's actually the popular line that the BJP really uses on multiple occasions, and they've really said that the Congress party needs to introspect not only with to the factors outside, but within themselves as well, as to why they have this sort of a loser kind of a mindset. With Sanjay Raut coming out and already putting allegations saying that money will be exchanging hands, is he talking like that, like an election which has already been lost? I'm sure his leader like Uddhav Thackeray will not be very happy with what Mr. Sanjay Raut has really said on this occasion. So Rashid Alvi +1, there are two people that the opposition parties now need to handle.
Okay, all right. Many thanks for that, Payal. I want to go across to Yasha as well. Yasha, Payal briefly spoke of the reaction that came in from UBT Sena and all of that today being put to use by the Bharatiya Janata Party in saying that you've given up even before fighting the election. Tell us how it's playing out in Maharashtra, very, very close to elections now that the dates are out.
Absolutely. In fact, when you speak of the reaction by opposition leaders, of course, like we've already discussed, Sanjay Raut has already questioned the stance saying that there will be money exchange of hands. But however, on the other hand, when you speak of other leaders, be it Aditya Thackeray who's taken to social media, or for that matter, members from the ruling government, that is BJP, or for that matter, even NCP Ajit Pawar faction, when it comes to the Mahayuti, they're quite confident. They've already started putting forth the work of the government in the last 2.5 years to portray as to what work has been done in Maharashtra. On the other hand, when you speak of MVA, they have said that they are ready to fight head on and to ensure that the MVA comes back to power. So in fact, when all of these things are discussed, it is of course a statement that's coming from Sanjay Raut questioning the election, or saying that there will be money exchange of hands. But on the other hand, the other leaders have not really gone ahead to comment on any such thing. In fact, all the other leaders are ready to face head on when it comes to the whole election. But of course, we've seen that this whole allegation...
The public, in fact, shows trust in the entire process by coming out and voting in large numbers. Yasha, I'll come back to you in just a bit. Going across to Pallavi once again. Pallavi, you spoke of how anytime we've seen an opposition ruled state, or we've seen elections in a state wherein the opposition has come to power, none of these allegations come to light. How has the BJP, in these scenarios, used the EVM narrative against the opposition? Because back then as well, while congratulating the opposition, the BJP says, what's happened to all your EVM malfunctioning narrative?
Absolutely. The Prime Minister, no less. I mean, I remember inside the Parliament also, he's taken those pot shots at the Rahul Gandhi, at the Congress, कि इनको रहे EVM से problem होने लगता है whenever they get this sense that they're losing elections. The Election Commissioner, I think it was a couple of years back, I think a year or two back, had actually organized a kind of a workshop where every political party was invited, and you can look at it yourself, and they were told that, you give your points. Congress did not turn up, and that is what the EC keeps on telling them, that was the occasion or the platform we offered you. You never even bothered to turn up. So why are you now crying foul now? Again, the same point which I was raising. I mean, we never heard those kind of voices from them when it came to Telangana, Karnataka, Himachal Pradesh. Even recently in Jammu and Kashmir, everything is fine, but not fine in Haryana. That's why the BJP deliberately projects them as poor losers.
Yes, absolutely. Doesn't send the right message to the party cadre as well. Many thanks for that, Pallavi. But interestingly, the Haryana and J&K results were out on the same day. Allegations of EVM malfunction, how all was not well as far as the counting process is concerned, was levelled by the Congress for Haryana, not for Jammu and Kashmir, and that is once again being spoken of by the Bharatiya Janata Party. But listen in to the CC responding to all of those allegations and also announcing the details of the poll schedule.
For Maharashtra, this will be in single phase. The notifications, date of notifications are in front of you. 22nd October would be date of notification. Last date of making nomination would be 29th October. Scrutiny on 30th October. And last date for withdrawal 4th, and date of poll in Maharashtra would be 20th 11. Counting would be on 23rd 11/24, and you will notice that date of poll is Wednesday. झारखंड एक बहुत ही समृद्ध स्टेट है, बहुत ही उसकी विरासत है, और वहां पर हम फिर से अपील करेंगे कि सब वोटर्स अधिक से अधिक मात्रा में वोट दें. Schedule would be like this. Jharkhand would be in 2 phases. The date of poll, first phase would be on, date of poll would be on 13th November, and the second phase would be along with Maharashtra on 20th November. So the date of issue of notification for Jharkhand phase 1 would be 18th, and for phase 2 would be 22nd along with Maharashtra. Nominations for phase 1 would be till 25th of October, and for phase 2 29th. This slide we will share with everyone. And date of poll would be 13th November and 20th November, both Wednesdays. And date of counting would be 23rd 11, that is Saturday.
चुनाव का इंतजार तो हम भी कर रहे हैं, और पूरी तैयारी हमारी महाविकास आघाड़ी की है. हम महाराष्ट्र में जो चुनाव होगा उसमें महाविकास आघाड़ी अच्छे वोटों से सत्ता में आएगी.
इलेक्शन कमीशन को धन्यवाद देते हैं, बधाई देते हैं कि उन्होंने झारखंड में इसके पहले जब भी देखे हैं तो लंबे दिनों तक चुनाव का सिलसिला चलता रहा है. निश्चित रूप से इलेक्शन कमीशन बहुत फेयर और बहुत शांतिपूर्वक चुनाव कराएगी, ये पूरा हम लोगों को विश्वास है, भरोसा है. आज के समय में देखें तो झारखंड की सरकार बिल्कुल भ्रष्ट है, और राज्य सरकार के खिलाफ पूरे राज्य में माहौल है. लोग चाहते हैं, लोग त्रस्त हैं कि ये भ्रष्ट सरकार जाए. राज्य के लोग ये प्रतीक्षा में थे कि कितना जल्दी चुनाव की घोषणा होती है, और राज्य के लोगों का समर्थन, सहयोग भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मिलेगा.
I want to go across to Congress's Rashid Alvi joining us on the phone line live on the broadcast. Good evening to you, sir. Sir, you heard it from the Chief Election Commissioner, who's also responded to a host of allegations levelled by the Congress, including yours. You spoke of a pager analogy while comparing pagers to EVMs. If pagers can be hacked by Israel, EVMs can be hacked by Bharatiya Janata Party. You've heard it from Mr. Rajiv Kumar. How would you now respond?
Actually, Election Commission doesn't know. Pager doesn't connect with anything at all. He said pager is connected to something. Not at all. As far as pager is concerned, it was something wrong and it was manipulated. That was the reason that so many people were killed. If Israel can do it, I have said so many times, from 500, 600 kilometers away to kill so many persons in Lebanon, EVM is nothing. More than that, even if I agree with the Election Commission, I want to say, if we are demanding election should be through ballot paper, what is wrong in it? Why they are putting pressure on us that no, it is only EVM which will be used? We demand, our entire commission is demanding that ballot paper should be used.
No, sir. You'd made a couple of points. The Chief Election Commissioner has now said EVM is 100% foolproof. People, in fact, show their trust in EVMs by coming out to cast their vote. That's number 2. So I want your response on that. Number 3 being, the Chief Election Commissioner has, as well as several leaders from the Bharatiya Janata Party, have spoken of how the Congress has no objection to EVMs when they win an election.
You know, it is very, very clear. I have said so many times, not now. For last 10 years I am demanding it. You tell me, if all the elections in all states are won by Bharatiya Janata Party, then entire country, not entire country, entire world will speak against this election commission. So,
no, I'm just asking you one simple question, Mr. Rashid Alvi. Why is it that you've never had a problem with the EVMs and how they function in a state like Karnataka, in a state like Telangana, or Jammu and Kashmir for that matter, where your party won in an alliance with the National Conference?
As far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, Chief Minister can't appoint even one single man. He cannot appoint even a chaprasi at all. It is Lieutenant Governor who is most powerful. So it doesn't make any difference as far as BJP is concerned. And some of these states, we have won. That is, the only reason is Election Commission can say, and even the media can say.
No, I'm running out of time, but pointed response, sir. Where is proof that EVMs can be hacked? 30 seconds, I need to quickly move on.
I have so many friends. They have proof even about it. If you want, if you agree to display it on your TV, I can send all of them to you. You agree?
Okay, sir. We're waiting for your response then. We're waiting for your response. But many thanks for speaking to us here on CNN News 18. We need to quickly shift our attention to more breaking news coming in. This is with regards to the BJP appointing a team to oversee the organizational poll. So details that we managed to access on that big update. We're learning that JP Nadda has been appointed National Returning Officer. Dr. K. Lakshman has been appointed National Returning Officer. Naresh Bansal appointed Co-Returning Officer. Rekha Verma, National Vice President, appointed the National Co-Returning Officer. So that's the big announcement that's coming from the BJP camp, appointing a team to oversee the organizational polls. Payal, how do you place this in the larger scheme of things, the names that we've just picked up and flashed for our viewers?
Well, of course, the organizational election is a whole exercise of 5 to 6 months, before the new president comes in. JP Nadda is currently on as the national president on extension till the new president gets elected. So K. Lakshman wears multiple caps. He is actually the OBC Morcha chief. He is a Rajya Sabha member of parliament. He is a part of the parliamentary board, which is the highest decision-making body of the BJP. And most importantly, he has also been somebody who's has a lot of organizational experience as well. So that's where he's coming from. He's going to be the convener. Co-convener, of course, Naresh Bansal, another member of parliament. Rekha Verma, who's a national office bearer, she's going to be part of this. Dr. Sambit Patra, first time member of parliament from Puri, has also been on this list because he also is the in charge of the northeast states. He's the convener for the northeast states for the BJP. So obviously the team being picked up because remember the membership drive has just been concluded and BJP is very, very confident that they've been able to achieve the number that they really want. After which, of course, the president election, before that you'll have to actually hold state president elections, and multiple state presidents will be appointed, right from the district level to the state level. And once those come through, of course, those a few limited percentage of that will be sending a proposal to appoint the next president of the Bharatiya Janata Party, which we are expecting that announcement to happen, at least late this year or probably early next year, because early next year, before the Delhi elections were given to understand the new president will in fact take office.
Okay, and with this exercise being undertaken, several big questions for the BJP will be answered. Who's going to succeed JP Nadda, the man who has been credited with the several victories of the Bharatiya Janata Party across the country. Many thanks, Payal, for joining us with that quick update. We head into a short break. We'll be right back.
Hyundai Super Delight. Date of poll in Maharashtra would be 20th 11. Counting would be on 23rd 11/24, and you will notice that date of poll is Wednesday. This is deliberately, which lot of scheduling, whatever goes into scheduling, we have tried that it is midday, so that issue of urban apathy is handled. And in case of urban apathy, we are really very concerned. We want to make appeal through you to all our esteemed voters in the urban areas to please come and vote. It's not a healthy trend which is reflected. If I give you a brief of what is happening across the elections in the urban apathy, we will share this slide with you. If you look at various states, you look at Gurgaon, you look at Faridabad recently. Last elections, you look at Jubilee Hills, Hyderabad. You look at Bangalore South. You look at Gujarat, Gandhigram, Kolaba, Mumbai City, Pune, Thane, all are much, much below the state averages of each state. We will be conducting a special meeting of the municipal commissioners and DOs within a week's time to appeal again to do whatever we can do to motivate the voters in the urban areas, but the trends are really not good. If I show you the Lok Sabha, that was the Lok Sabha, if I show you legislative assemblies, see the lowest, the Kolaba was just 40%. 62 of 64 urban ACs in Maharashtra were less than the state average in 2019. So was the case in the parliamentary elections 2024 also. And just to give you a contrast, if you compare, so what was the situation in Lok Sabha in Kalyan was 50%, Mumbai South 50%, Mumbai North, Thane, Pune, Mumbai South, everything 53%. And these were the lowest 6 parliamentary constituencies out of the lowest 10. So that's the state of the urban apathy. We would be doing everything to counter it. Last time in 24 elections, we had all celebrities, all corporates, Amul, everyone involved. We'll do it again. And we'll also, at this point, emphasize that this contrasts with a very positive trend in the constituencies like Doda, 72%, Riyasi, 74%, Punch, 74%, Rajouri, 71%. If they can go 70 plus, Kolaba can also go 40 plus. In 24 Lok Sabha elections, Bastar was 68%, 69%. Gadchiroli, Manipur, states after state, tough areas. So we'll be requesting through you, we'll have a special drive this time for the slum areas in urban areas and also the colonies, all alike, to have a real urban push. I do not want to name specific thing, but there are booths in Faridabad and Gurgaon in the recently held elections, and they are the poshest places where voting has been around 20%. So again, we will be doing a lot of work on this to do whatever we can do to attract the urban voters. Now, friends, coming to Jharkhand. झारखंड एक बहुत ही समृद्ध स्टेट है, बहुत ही उसकी विरासत है, और वहां पर हम फिर से अपील करेंगे कि सब वोटर्स अधिक से अधिक मात्रा में वोट दें. शेड्यूल वुड बी लाइक दिस. झारखंड वुड बी इन 2 phases. The date of poll, first phase would be on, date of poll would be on 13th November, and the second phase would be along with Maharashtra on 20th November, and date of counting would be 23rd 11, that is Saturday. With this, we end our presentation with the request that through you, that all the voters of Jharkhand and Maharashtra कृपया बाहर आइए, कृपया वोट करिए.
I want to quickly return with a breaking news update coming in. This is with regards to yet another bomb threat that's been received by the Air India Airlines. This is another Air India flight that's received a bomb threat. Delhi-Chicago flight receiving a bomb threat, and given this, the flight has been diverted to Canada. In fact, the flight received this threat via social media, and it's a second such flight just today to have received a bomb threat. And if we look at the statistics over the last 2 days, of the 5th flight to be receiving such a threat. I want to go across to my colleague Yash joining us with more details. Yash, tell us a little bit about the developments that have taken place ever since the airlines received this threat. The flight, we're learning, given this threat, has been diverted to Canada.
Well, absolutely, Christine. The flight right now is stationed at the Iqaluit International Airport, which is in Canada. In fact, we have also able to manage to access the visual of the very aircraft at the isolation bay. Well, like you mentioned, this is a second such threat which has been received by a flight operator here in India today. In fact, earlier it was an Air India Express flight, and now it's an Air India flight. In fact, Air India has also come out with an official statement on this very matter, where they have mentioned that this very threat was actually received via unverified social media account. And in fact, earlier also, when we talk about the other flight which had received the threat, was a Jaipur Ayodhya flight which had received the bomb threat. But earlier only the Air India Express has said that not only Air India Express but other carriers had also received a similar sort of bomb threat. And now what we are learning that this very flight, all the checks and balances have been done, and in fact passengers who were in this flight and this very Canada flight, in fact those passengers have been also they have been deboarded from the aircraft, and in fact after thorough screening they have been assured that their flight or in fact different arrangements will be made for them. But in fact till now this is something which is very worrying, because in the last 5 days, in the last 2 days, this is the fifth such threat which a flight carrier has actually received. Though in all likelihood, what the sources within Air India are suggesting us is that all these threat calls are taken with the utmost priority, and that is why all the.
But in this case, Yash, do we have a confirmation on whether or not this was a hoax bomb threat?
Well, Christine, officially we are yet to receive a confirmation about this, but in all likelihood it will be a hoax call, because this is one such message which has been received by multiple carriers throughout the day today and yesterday via this social media message. Yesterday also the flights which had received this very threat later deemed to be a hoax one, and in fact today also in some time from now we will be knowing the status of this very call. But in all likelihood it will be a hoax call, because at this juncture all the carriers are saying that this is something which has happened with them at a large scale, because it's not just Air India or Air India Express but multiple flights. Yesterday, like Indigo had received this threat, so we are waiting for an official confirmation, but looking at the modus operandi of this, it looks like a hoax call.
You know, Yash, every time there is a hoax bomb threat, we see the manner in which it creates a lot of inconvenience for the passengers, leads to a lot of delay, triggers a security situation, immediate security situation. But what is really being done about this kind of a menace? Because it's becoming very, very routine, and we've seen several such instances come to light in the recent past.
When we talk about these bomb threats, this is not new, like you mentioned now. We are seeing that more of these calls being made to air carriers and to the aircrafts. Earlier we had seen how these calls were received by different schools and different establishments across the country. So this is a big menace which the higher authorities definitely need to counter. In fact, some days back only DGCA talked about, and in fact the BCS has also talked about this very menace. But as of now, this seems to be out of control, because these messages are being received by the carriers via unverified social media accounts.
Okay, many thanks, Yash, for joining us with all those details. That's all the time we have in this edition of Nation at 5. Thanks for watching. On the other side, Plain Speak with my colleague Poonam Burde.
Putting Bharat's interests first, always.
Now at a brand new time. The Right Stand, now at 7 p.m. Brought to you by...
And date of poll in Maharashtra would be 20th 11. Counting would be on 23rd 11/24, and you will notice that date of poll is Wednesday. This is deliberately, which lot of scheduling, whatever goes into scheduling, we have tried that it is midday so that issue of urban apathy is handled. And in case of urban apathy, we are really very concerned. We want to make appeal through you to all our esteemed voters in the urban areas to please come and vote. It's not a healthy trend which is reflected. If I give you a brief of what is happening across the elections in the urban apathy, we will share this slide with you. If you look at various states, you look at Gurgaon, you look at Faridabad recently. Last elections, you look at Jubilee Hills, Hyderabad. You look at Bangalore South. You look at Gujarat, Gandhigram, Kolaba, Mumbai City, Pune, Thane, all are much below the state averages of each state. We will be conducting a special meeting of the municipal commissioners and DOs within a week's time to appeal again to do whatever we can do to motivate the voters in the urban areas, but the trends are really not good. If I show you the Lok Sabha, that was the Lok Sabha. If I show you legislative assemblies, see the lowest. The Kolaba was just 40%. 62 of 64 urban ACs in Maharashtra were less than the state average in 2019. So was the case in the parliamentary elections 2024 also. And just to give you a contrast, if you compare, so what was the situation in Lok Sabha in Kalyan was 50%, Mumbai South 50%, Mumbai North, Thane, Pune, Mumbai South, everything 53%. And these were the lowest 6 parliamentary constituencies out of the lowest 10. So that's the state of the urban apathy. We would be doing everything to counter it. Last time in 24 elections, we had all celebrities, all corporates, Amul, everyone involved. We'll do it again. And we'll also, at this point, emphasize that this contrasts with a very positive trend in the constituencies like Doda, 72%, Riyasi, 74%, Punch, 74%, Rajouri, 71%. If they can go 70 plus, Kolaba can also go 40 plus. In 24 Lok Sabha elections, Bastar was 68%, 69%. Gadchiroli, Manipur, states after state, tough areas. So we'll be requesting through you, we'll have a special drive this time for the slum areas in urban areas and also the colonies, all alike, to have a real urban push. I do not want to name a specific thing, but there are booths in Faridabad and Gurgaon in the recently held elections, and they are the poshest places where voting has been around 20%. So again, we will be doing a lot of work on this to do whatever we can do to attract the urban voters. Now, friends, coming to Jharkhand. झारखंड एक बहुत ही समृद्ध स्टेट है.
Good evening, you're watching Plain Speak with me, Poonam Burde. Canada has doubled down on its provocation against India. Over the last 24 hours, India and Canada have indulged in a second round of tit-for-tat expulsion of diplomats. All of this over absurd allegations of involvement of Indian government officials in the killing of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar last year. Hours after India withdrew its diplomats from Canada, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police added a new twist to the entire saga. They drew a link between agents of the Indian government and the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau then accused the Indian government officials of engaging in what he called were clandestine